Okay, everyone, it's been one of the links to science. In today's video, we're going to be upgrading our forest industry and making it more modernized like we did to the farming industry when we actually first built it. So, the forest industry, when I originally put it in, I basically just put it in as a way to make money for the city. So, now it's just not as useful as it is now, and I want to change it to like I have the farming industry. But so first I set all of the factories and warehouses and stuff, storing stuff to empty in it, so this way I could demolish it, because we're going to be completely demolishing everything and completely stripping it and then redoing it all. And you'll see the end product, and I think you'll be pretty glad with it. It's going to be definitely a lot more efficient with this, with the industry's goods and the industry's DLC, and the just generic goods in game for forestry products. And so the end product, I'm honestly very proud of how this did end out. But so what I did start out with is a main 2-lane road just going along, and I went along the rock face. How I would basically, this is basically how a road would work, that they go with the contours of the land. And so instead of plowing right through it, it's easier just to go along it with the road. And then I came out a bit just so this way I could have 4 tiles away from the highway, or the viaduct. And then so this way all of our buildings could have its maximum distance back, so they could be as big as they could for our industries area in here, because this is going to be where all of the zoned industry is going to be. And then also all of our processing places where we make paper and timber, and then also where we're going to be making furniture from the timber and paper. Don't ask me how paper goes in the furniture. I really do not get that still. But so basically we're going to be making that, and then also storing both paper and the timber, and then also having a place to store the industries, forestry products, or the wood. And then we aren't going to have a place to store just generic wood, because that we can immediately get rid of. But this is making money, and it's bringing in a whole lot of trucks, which, I mean, it's great that we're getting in a whole lot of trucks, but it also isn't at the same time. And so basically now I just need to zone this in, and then I could get to work on making the Industries DLC version of, the forest industry. And so that stuff will basically just sit there and, look good, and will just work its way in and then get ready. So I started out by placing medium tree plantations all around after building their first base road. Then I brought it out just slightly more, and then I basically just brought the road down to the end of the main road that I originally built. And so basically with me doing that, I just curved it off. So that's why we got that little like U-shape type thing there. And then I needed to just place in water pipes because I forgot to kind of do that earlier. But so basically the generic industries area really isn't fully enough for the this generic zoned goods, especially once we do an expansion. So we're probably going to need to increase that at some point too. But that's not the focus of this episode. I just thought that I'd bring that up because we're right next to it, and also this episode's based off industries, so we got that. So now I'm basically just measuring the road to see how much road I would need for the tree plantations. And also basically that whole entire like generic industries area, zoned industries area, that's basically a whole ton of different services. So basically I'm doing, like I said there, just fixing the measurements. I'm sorry, I'm swapping topics rapidly. But so really that's all I have to say about that. And so basically, now I finally found the perfect size, so I deleted the other 2 pieces of red strips, and then I just brought it out to the end. Then filled the rest up with medium tree plantations. And, well, this one was trying to be very troublesome and annoying, so I tried a whole ton of different stuff. Basically, I just got it to work, and then just went along with the other ones, and then on the other side did the same thing, until I ran into the same problem that I did over him, so I put in a small tree plantation. And you may be wondering why I'm not doing the sapling farm, and it's because I'm trying to go for a more realistic style, and for how that was, it wasn't working out for here because this is like a forest. And I also did change these small tree plantations to match the other plantations. And now I'm just trying to find a tree that matches the plantations here. And so now I'm doing a really cool thing that would be a whole lot easier if I had access to the Steam Workshop on console. I'm basically expanding it to where it looks like that it goes all the way out to the edge of the main road, even though it doesn't. And there's a mod that basically just makes straight tree lines, like I'm doing here, just you don't need to do it manually. If I had that would be so nice, especially for this. But guess what, we don't get mods on console. Of course, this game is 7 years old, so that's the thing. I believe March 23rd was its birthday, and its 7th birthday. With that, it gave everyone got a free hot air balloon tours that's themed after a chirper, which is the things that pop up at the very top. It's like an email, either complimenting or being rude about your city. And so there's that. But so, I mean, also this theme's so old that probably it would be very hard to actually add in mods, although the Xbox version does have mods, and the PlayStation version doesn't. So, I don't know. But so basically, the tree, stuff basically ended up becoming wonky at some point. I think, like, the second or third row that I made customly started going wonky. And so I just decided, instead of fixing it all, because I was kind of fed up by this point, I was working on this for a good while, I just would have it terminate into the row before it. And so basically then I had just looked around to see what else there was that I could do from here. And so basically now I just looked at some of the different stuff to match it up with some of these, to put in some smaller ones, so this way it looked like it went along with it. And so then, well, it looked better, and this cost the whole entire $0 just to place these in. It just cost my time. So basically now I'm just trying to deal with those, and now I'm just trying to find the right tree again, and then squeeze those in here, and then I just need all of my tree tryings of getting stuff. And so basically, I was kind of fed up with trying to make it look, precise. Yeah, that's the word. And so I just started throwing around these trees all around in, like, the open areas. And also some of the bushes, and then this, one type of tree. I eventually find it. Definitely not that one. That one looks hideous. So, I found, this tree that was like sprinkled in the normal forest. So I sprinkled that with the tree that I had been using all around in the other areas to make it look like that I was part of it. And from high up it did, and then I also added bushes in and around. But basically, if you looked up, not precisely, it honestly looked really good. And like it was a huge tree plantation there to collect, to collect wood, obviously. And so basically I just did this for a while, and then then I basically just started building outside around, like, the main road to make it more like that it was inside of a forest, like, realistically it would. But also it was, like, right next to a city center, so how was I fully meant to do that? But I tried to make it as realistic as I could, so basically I just sprinkled more trees around the outer edge after I was done putting in a whole ton of trees just in there. And so basically making this all look very realistic and good. So I did this for a while. It's kind of boring, but in the heat of the moment, it honestly was quite nice. I don't know about anyone else, but whenever I play Skylines personally, it's honestly really peaceful, and I just get in like a trance to where I just start playing this thing, and I just lose time. Straight up, it feels like I was abducted by aliens. Like if you ever hear about those alien abduction stories, it feels like that's where I just lost time. Next thing I know, it's like an hour or two later, and I'm being told that I have to go to bed because I recorded this at totally not 3 in the morning. We don't talk about my sleep schedule. But so then over here, because it did not look good like that, I basically just added trees there. And then right all in here, I basically just filled it in with trees, just kind of to make it look like that it was going to fit in. I kind of just did rows, but it's mostly just me spamming down the tree, going up and then down. And then I also did it to where it like curved, to where I honestly thought that I would kind of like, it looked the best like if it were to curve. And you can see all the traffic that was being made from this, with a whole ton of different workers trying to go in and out, and then trucks just delivering timber and different products around. And then here is basically where I just started absolutely going crazy with stuff, with trees all outside, just outside of the main road. On the mountain hill part, other little mini mountain, basically I just spammed them all around, and I did that for a while. I know not the funniest thing to do, but I honestly had a whole lot of fun just making this build. And honestly, like I said, before I knew it, an hour had passed, and now it was time to get into the factories. So I placed back the furniture factory, replacing that little square, which I left open purposely for the new processing buildings and the furniture factory. I've messed around with it a bit, but then I eventually decided there, and that's where it would stay. Then I moved the first warehouse back. But I completely forgot about this when I moved them. The timber and paper can only be made inside the city. Although the products to make them can be imported, they can't be imported. So they were kind of just sitting there aimlessly. Which, I mean, it's whatever. I have just under $10 million, so I mean, it didn't really matter, but it's, like, just... why? But so basically, I need to expand our new area, which was still pretty small at this point. You'll see in the end how it gets. I mean, it doesn't get huge like the farm. The farm is just kind of outrageous. It produces too much. It does not have enough buyers. That's what all the farm crops are complaining of, not enough buyers constantly, even after additions to the population after that video. Like, that's where the inspiration was from that. So that's great. And you can see the traffic problems that this is causing. So, I tried doing an asymmetrical road, which is where there is one lane going in, and then 2 lanes going out. So basically that's just kind of how I had it for a while. And then I went out to build my expansion, but then I realized that I was basically building into a hill. So what I did, well, I don't necessarily do it right now, but when I expanded a bit more later, you'll see what I'm talking about. But so I realized that we're expanding it into a hill. So expanding stuff into a hill is not exactly the best thing to do. So what I would end up doing is basically just flattening down the hill and then sloping it back again to make it look a bit nicer. So this way it honestly looked, well, a lot better than it did, well, before. which now I'm basically just trying to place down the advanced thingy, the advanced sawmill type thing. If you watch my Little Big Workshop videos, you'll understand that. But speaking of Little Big Workshop, I do have a playlist of all of the videos. If you do look at my channel under playlist, you can see playlist of all of the videos for that. I believe that there's a total of 9 videos as of me recording this. And there's soon to be 10 in it, probably. Yeah, it's soon to be 10 because I'm going to record another one soon. But so, if you have missed out on any of those episodes, make sure to go watch them. Sadly, I don't have a playlist for this series. I just made just after I started actually putting stuff, being organized and putting stuff in playlists, which it's just a Little Big Workshop that's in playlists. But of course, that's easy because I don't need to hunt down episodes, unlike, say, some older Skyline cities or older Jurassic World projects. And so basically, I realized, well, the paper mill's a whole lot bigger than these advanced machinery sawmill things. But it makes the same thing, which, I mean, it's kind of dumb like that. I think it has the same like stats. And this is when I realized, I should probably expand into the mountain a bit more. Yeah, that's a good idea. Totally don't leave this little peninsula, which I then get rid of. And then basically I just use the slope tool, which is how I did it. Basically already was still pretty sloped, but I would end up using the slope tool to definitely slope it a bit better. This way it wasn't as intrusive when I would expand it later on, or if in the future I need to do other stuff, which I did end up doing a third road going out onto the main road, leaving this industries area part here. And that was to basically just add another connection out for the wood facility, so this way they didn't need to go in through all the hecticness of the traffic. And so that's where I used the slope tool majorly. And so here I put in the large sawdust facility, or well, the biggest storage facility. And so I figured, alright, this would be a good idea to place in. Yes and no, it brought in a whole ton of truck traffic for a long time while they were filling up the 600,000 capacity it had of all of the industry's DLC timber. But so while I do have this in my hand, I considered placing it there, but I didn't. Instead, I just placed a road in and then added more industry. Since it wasn't just empty there, now there was a road there and then soon be industry. And basically once that filled up, it basically stopped just being a big old truck carrier, or well, a big old truck bringer, because really it wasn't getting emptied quick enough to where it would happen like that. But so that was just to supply the advanced sawmills and the paper mills to basically just make it to where they weren't getting it directly from the plantations and that we had it stored, and then the warehouses would basically get really quickly smoothed up and filled up. And this is the new road. As you can see, I had a bit of problems with it, and also along this hill you saw me smooth it earlier because it was getting a bit steep. And so right there I basically just lowered the terrain so I could get a nice slight lower in elevation to where it wasn't down majorly like it was, but a whole nicer like I have it in that road. And so now I'm basically just trying to fit in the asymmetrical road. I really didn't need an asymmetrical road for right here because I really don't like what it was giving me. But so basically just made the slope a bit steeper at the cost of it being slightly shorter, and basically I just tried a whole lot trying to fit in this however I wanted it, which I mean I did get it eventually in how I wanted it. It's not exactly how I wanted it, it's a bit more windy, you could say. like this. Basically, it went out and then went to the right and then went to the left, and then basically that was like the end product. Yeah, this is where I finished the road. And then I just need some sloping along right there, and that basically got it all done for that like hill part. And so that was mostly basically it for what I had to do. Then I basically just got rid of that, so this way I wasn't on any of the out roads. Then for solving traffic inside of that, I made it all a one-way road, keeping those asymmetrical roads though. Well, made it a whole entire one-way road going around the outside of it, and then forced everyone to basically go that way. But I kept the roads leaving asymmetrical roads, except the one at the end where the very end / beginning of it was a normal road, because it was longer than the other ones, instead of it going straight out. Then the connection right into the industries where the main building is, and its current only connection to the outside world. The traffic ended up being so bad that I removed the road pieces on the viaduct for a bit, which I didn't mean. I did pause the game, and then put in a small roundabout there. And it straight up and nearly immediately solved the problem. But so, I believe that's it for this episode. I do hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe if you